Welcome to the Minx Muse podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Minx, creatrix of Minx Muse, a fiercely feminine playhouse that cultivates self-discovery and empowerment through classes, workshops, and events centered around esoerotic dance, transformative movement, and mystical exploration. During this podcast, I'll be having candid conversations with fiercely feminine witches, seductresses, and dark goddesses living in Austin, Texas. Welcome, Lily Shepard, to the Minx Muse podcast.
Hello.
What are we drinking today, my dear?
Some rosé, darling.
Rosé, sparkling rosé. Mm-hmm. Cheers. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. I've been so excited to speak with you. So, how would you describe yourself in one sentence or less?
I am a multi-dimensional woman with a wealth of bad bitch energy.
Oh, I love that. That suits you very well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for those who don't know you, like what are the things you do in this world in terms of, I mean, I know you're a mother, you're a girlfriend, your daughter, all of those things. Mm-hmm. What are some of the creative pursuits you do in this world?
Dancing,
my dear.
I like to say a movement and expression facilitator more so than a dance instructor.
How do you differentiate that?
I facilitate, I help. I'm not there to instruct. I mean, I'm kind of a guide. I like to be thought of as more so of a guide than actually I'm going to tell you what to do and you're going to spit it back out to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm a choreographer as well, and that is exactly what that is, But in terms of classes and stuff, yeah.
What you're offering, or what your kind of soul passion is when you're doing your own thing and not being hired. But you do get hired to do choreography.
Yes, I do. I also write. Have a blog.
Ooh, what's the blog?
It is bloomu.life.
Bloomu.life. Okay.
Yes, because I want you to get your life when you read it. It's just the things that I like to talk about: motherhood, entrepreneurship, just my perspective on things.
And how old's your daughter?
She's 11.
Oh, she's cute. I've met her.
She's a sweetie.
Yeah, she's a good one.
She's a handful.
Well, they all are. She's entering teenage years, so.
Well, not yet.
I think she'll do well. So. So what are some things, let me know about your dance history. So did you go to school for dance? What's kind of your path been up to this point?
Well, I put on my first little tutu at 4, and it was really cute, and that's where it started. I danced in dance studios as a child and did competitions and all that kind of stuff, and then went to a performing arts high school. So I was a dance major there.
And where was this?
In Rochester, New York. The Rock is in the building. So yeah, and then I was a dance major in college, and I graduated with a degree in dance. And then I moved to Las Vegas, where I became a dancing diva, as they say. I just was doing shows and getting gigs and performing, and that's also where I started my foray into the world of adult dancing, aka a scripper.
I would want to talk to you about that. Yeah, because you actually, you teach workshops here and series and things like that. And the last one you did was strippers and showgirls. We've done a few of those at this point. So you've been both. You've been a showgirl, you've been a stripper. I know you differentiate between the two. So what was your, first of all, stripping? That started in Vegas. What was your experience with that?
Oh, wow. I mean, it started as kind of a fun amateur night thing. I mean, how the whole thing started was I was at the Hard Rock hanging out, met these 2 guys, this gay couple, and was just drinking and talking with them. And they were like, honey, you are so hot, your little body, you could probably make thousands of dollars a night. And, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And then it's across from a strip club called Club Paradise. And they were like, there's an amateur contest. We saw it when we were driving in. And of course, well, let's go do it. So I go with these 2 strangers that I had just met. They were super nice, and they were like, we're going to support you. We're going to yell for you and make sure you win. And I went and I did the contest, and I was surprised at how comfortable I felt. I felt like this is all you have to do. I mean, like, okay, my boobs, I dance, and I didn't win, actually, because there was a girl there that was like a bachelorette, and all of her friends, she had a whole crew, and so she won first.
Popularity contest,
right? But I did walk away with $500, and they were like, "Hey, if you ever want to work here, that was your audition. You know, you can just show up." And I was like, okay, yeah. And that was the start of it.
That's like a movie.
It is. It is. It was really fun, though.
How long did you do it for?
A long ass time. On and off. 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you were also at the same time pursuing like Vegas showgirl stuff, right? What were some of the things you were doing in Vegas that
it's such a different world. I mean, those two are so similar but very different. I was in a traveling show called Legends Alive, which I was it's an impersonator show. So there was like a Garth Brooks, a Cher,
Whitney
I've heard of this one. And so we traveled with that. And I was a go-go dancer at Studio 54 and at Tao, and just various little gigs. Whenever I could just get something, I would grab it and do it.
That Vegas like performer life is so fascinating to me.
It's rough. It was fun. I was really young, and I was just excited to be paid to dance.
Yeah.
So I was and Vegas at that time was very inexpensive. And so I felt like...
When was this like?
I'm balling. This was like 2003.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Early 2000s.
Oh, and that's the year I danced with Beyonce on the Billboard Awards. That was one of the big... Yeah.
Oh, that's so rad.
Yeah. That was a big... gig, for just arriving in Vegas. So that was cool. And this was all happening simultaneously, like with the strip club and also auditioning and stuff.
I love that creative energy in your early 20s. It's like if you go to college or not, but you're just like, I'm going to take over the world. Mm-hmm. I love that energy.
That's exactly what I had. It was like I was either going to go to New York or LA, and then Vegas just presented itself like, well, Vegas is less expensive. Yeah. It's less competitive, for dancers. So I didn't know anyone when I moved there. No. I was called to go and I went.
I love it. So you said the strippers and the showgirls, you see similarities, but you see difference. First of all, similarities.
Similarities are just the confidence, that it takes to be anywhere, scantily clad and, just kind of showing your body. They're very similar in that way, and they both are kind of admiration, right? There's something to be looked at, but that's kind of where the difference is as well, because stripper is like work, get your money, girl, you're there, hustle, earn your money, make your money, and it's very much like it's more of you're there, you have to stand out, you have to stand out amongst, you have to make the money, amongst hundreds of girls, so it's much more of a work mentality, and it's a little more of it's harder, when you're a showgirl, you're just there to be simply admired and beautiful, and the work is already done. The people have paid their money. They're in the audience. They're sitting. You're going to be rewarded with applause. And that's kind of where it ends.
Interesting. Did you make more money stripping?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that seems like, and it's the hustle not just to get paid on stage, it's the hustle to get lap dances and to get...
Yeah, I made no money on stage. Yeah. I'm not a pole dancer, so I enjoyed the stage part because of my dance background. I just like being on stage, but honestly, that's kind of like your teaser, right?
You're kind of like, this is my little teaser. Now I'm going to hustle and I'm going to get my dances.
A lot of the times I would pay money to not go on stage because it was kind of a waste of time. I could be interacting with customers and like really making money versus just, getting rained on.
Yeah, well, so I used to have a pole dance podcast, and I remember speaking with a woman who's actually since tried to like wipe the internet clear of her stripping days, so I'm not going to say her name, but because she's going into law enforcement, but
Oh wow, that's a switch.
Yeah, and she's one of my favorite pole dancers. And so, but she was a stripper for a while, and she's one of the best pole dancers I've ever seen. And she was saying that there's this belief that it's being a pole dancer makes you a good stripper on stage. And she was saying that like the club manager, she would go on stage and she'd do all these tricks, and he was like, you see up there on the top of the pole, you see that money? And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, you left all your money while you were up on that pole. Get down off the pole and make some money in the
come talk to people. Really, that's what it is sales, connecting with people,
service
talking
industry
to people.
Type of like.
Yeah, that's so much more of it. I mean, people think, yeah, go make a clap, pop your ass, shake your, and it's like, yeah, but that's such a small part of it.
Yeah, that's right. I know those Atlanta and Dallas clubs and stuff. That's that's kind of an anomaly, I think.
I love those clubs. Those Miami, Atlanta clubs. I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
It's like different than your average strip club. Those are right. That's a whole thing. That's like the bottles, the making it rain. That's where the girls are really good at the pole and they get rained on, but that is not.
Right. And that happens in Vegas. Like that does happen, but it's more so interaction person to person. Forget the pole and the rain. I would like a stack of money in my hand. You know what I mean? Rather than clustering up dollars. I'm like, I want large bills in my hand.
Yeah. And then so being the showgirl, there's that like amazing opportunity to be adorned and having costumes and being able to kind of like,
it's glamorous.
There's the glamour. It's a great word for it.
Yeah, it's glamorous, and you just, there's a certain stature. You just carry yourself differently when you have feathers and sequins and rhinestones, and it's glamorous, but it's also really kind of hard work in the sense that your figure it's more closely regulated. As a stripper, you're kind of your own person, but if you're in a show, you have to adhere to that show's, cover up your tattoos, stay your certain weight, your hair a certain way, so it's much more kind of like straight and narrow.
Interesting. It's nice. It's pretty awesome that you had the experience doing both and that you enjoyed both of them and found like positivity in both of those. Yeah, so not really a showgirl or a stripper anymore. That was like Lily in her 20s, living her best life, and then taking that experience and now moving to Austin. How long have you been in Austin for?
It'll be 4 years this summer.
Okay, and what brought you here?
I had done Vegas to death. I was really over it. I didn't want to raise my daughter there. It's not really that type of place. I mean, you can. I know a lot of people raising kids there, but I just wanted something different. I was kind of ready to close the door on that whole life and start fresh.
Nice. And you're here. You're settled here.
I love it here.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. I love Austin.
I know. I love hearing about how you're building your life here. What is your like focus now? So you're doing I found you as Body Bloom ATX. So you've kind of taken this dance experience and you're kind of creating your own thing now.
Yeah, I'm creating my own thing. I think I have a lot of different classes that I like to do. I mean, I like to do all of the strippers and showgirls and all of that, like the heels and the sexiness, but I also like, just my good old dancing, jazz hands and all of that stuff and character jazz and doing some contemporary. So this year has kind of been focusing back on dancing, being
a student.
Yeah, being a student, going to classes, taking from other people, just being back in that world as opposed to always being the facilitator, because I got to get better too. I'm getting older.
I saw you in the Dance Austin showcase, and you did 2 pieces. You did a contemporary piece, and you did like a video vixen piece, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's that's kind of what sparks creativity, right? Like not always being in your own bubble.
Right, and getting that community with other dancers. Like doing a show with other people that and respect, and dancing, is more of a group thing. And I was kind of missing that. It was like, okay, I'm going to facilitate this class and then we all go our separate ways. And, but kind of having the experience of building on something with a group is cool.
Yeah. And so you do a lot of twerk here too.
Oh, yes.
Twerk and burns kind of your
Twerk and burn is how I started everything off in Austin. And I love twerking, but I always tell people I am like yes, in the strip club, I learned how to throw my ass around pretty good, you know, and to control it and make it move. But I think that I bring the best twerk out of people. I feel like that's my gift. Like, there are plenty of people that can twerk way better than I can, but I feel like I can instruct people. I know how to teach them how to make their particular booty move in the most attractive way possible.
I have a theory that the best teachers, and this is obviously not a blanket statement, but generally speaking, the best instructors are those who are not necessarily at the top of their game. I have learned dance from people who are very natural talents and have had many experiences where it's very difficult to learn from them because they have never had to really break it down because they catch on instantly. Mm-hmm. So people who have to it takes them a little longer, or they're not like, I am just this natural born twerker, let me teach you type of thing. I think that makes better teachers because they understand I had to really break this down for myself to be able to figure it out. So that's probably why you're such an amazing teacher.
I like teaching beginners also. I realized that through my time in Austin, the whole kind of dance class vibe as it is in New York or even in Vegas, where it's very it's not a communal experience, it's a kind of a competitive experience, and kind of who is going to eat up this choreography and just execute it, and it's all about the execution. And so I've realized
getting that Instagram video when they're in their 3, 1, 2, 3, and we've all seen it, and it's and
it's amazing. But I feel like all of the stuff that goes on before that perfect moment, and kind of making a class environment that's not necessarily about the strict execution of choreography, but it's more like putting your own little flavor. I say that in all my classes, this is just blueprint. Put yourself into it. We're not auditioning. If there's something tense, sometimes people feel about dance class, and they're in the mirror and they're like, you're looking at yourself and you want to get it right and you don't want to mess anyone else up. And it doesn't, I don't like it to be stressful.
Well, and my theory is, if you're in New York, if you're in LA, you're in Vegas, you're taking these classes, you're probably trying to be a professional dancer. Mm-hmm. And there is a time and place for that, for sure. That's the environment where it's going to be competitive because you're trying to get gigs and you're trying to get recognized.
I went to show out.
Yes. I went to a beginner Aisha Francis heel class in for those who don't know her, she does the stiletto heels. She's everything. So I was like, beginner class. Yeah, I'm going to go take this in LA. And I mean, there was advanced students in that class trying to get recognized by her, mm-hmm. And I'm in the back I don't fucking know what's happening right now. So I was just shimmying in the back. She's great. Her attitude was awesome. I totally loved her. But there's in those videos where you see the 3 people and they're dancing mm-hmm. and it's so hot and sexy. People send them to me all the time. And I don't think they realize that there's about 80 people in those classes. There's no individualized instruction. Right. You are watching and you're figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. It's just throw it out. You know what I mean?
And you got to just keep going, and you need to practice, and you really needs to be you need to be hating it sometimes to be able to really focus and get down to the nitty gritty and get to that level. It's not the classes you offer and I think we offer here, which is smaller groups. You can get a little individual attention.
Right.
We can help
you. There's time for questions.
There's time for questions. Yeah. You could be can you go over that again? Or, there's not the, someone trying to get the attention to get recognized so they can get a gig and be in that person's front of mind type thing. It's dance as a hobby versus dance as a profession. Right. And those are 2 different things. And I love that the way you offer classes is even if it's challenging choreography, you make it fun. And it's we're not getting video gigs on MTV with this dance right now. You're here to have fun, enjoy it, learn some moves, feel in yourself, feel good.
And that's what it's about, especially, I've been through that whole feeling bad, feeling like I'm the one in the room that's not picking up fast enough, not being chosen to be in the select group that does it for video or that does it like as a, hey, this is what it's supposed to look like. You know, it's like I have been there, and, you know, it's not necessarily, the joy of dance doesn't really come through with that. It kind of would leave me feeling, and it was necessary, you know, for me to grow as a professional dancer,
yeah.
But it was like, it often left me feeling worse. You know, I left feeling worse about myself than I did coming in, you know, and I don't want people to feel that from my classes, because they're not trying to be a professional. They just want to have a good time and learn a cute step and show their people.
Yeah, there's definitely those classes that are for the professional dancers. That's not what we're talking about. Like, because you say that's not what you like doing, the beginners, and you like doing. So something that leads into that I've been seeing you post a lot, actually, about on Facebook and Instagram and your social media, is this idea of feminine energy. I know it's your jam recently. And that's something that I feel about dance is, if you are a professional dancer, you need to add a lot of that masculine energy into it, right? So it seems like when you kind of subtract that and that pressure of getting that perfect recording and getting everything right, you allow for more of that feminine flow energy into your dance and into your movement, and kind of like fills this like void in you. To me, that feels better. I'm all about allowing ourselves to experience the feminine. And I think dance is a perfect way to do that if you're allowing yourself to do it in like a non-competitive, non-beating yourself up, allowing just that feeling and emotion and joy that comes from the dance movement itself to flow through you. I think that's what you're tapping into.
Absolutely. I mean, you said allowing, and that's exactly what it is. Allowing, you know, whatever happens while you're dancing to just happen, versus kind of this, I'm going to win, I'm going to get it, I'm going to nail it type of, that is more of a masculine, I'm going to conquer this. This is something that I'm going to do, and kind of just allowing yourself to be transformed through the movement. I mean, that's exactly the essence of, that's what I'm trying to get at, you know, is just kind of being soft and allowing whatever transformation is going to happen for you, like during the course of the class, to just take place.
Yeah. What is your thought on the feminine? Like, how would you describe it, and how do you see you embodying that in not just your classes, but your life?
I think as far as being feminine, kind of the sensual, you know, being engaged with all of our senses. You know, I'm a very sensual person. I like to taste the food and drink the drink and smell the flowers and touch the velvet and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like
the movement in your dance.
Yes. I mean, it's all one whole big experience. And I feel like sometimes we get, as women, pushed away from that, you know, whether it be because you're a mom, or because you're in corporate America, or because you have a job that dictates, you know, pleasure. You know, there's only so much space for pleasure in your life, you know, and women are at our best, you know, when there's pleasure in our lives.
It's true. What are some ways that you like to find pleasure in your life? So what are some things you do? I'm going to throw out there, take a dance class, and a dance class that's not predicated on like getting that strict movement down. There's so many great, not just Minx Muse, obviously. There's so many amazing troupes and studios and things like that in Austin where you can just go for fun. And I'm going to also throw in there, just allow yourself to do things for fun, not to make money off of it, or not to be the best, and not to conquer it, and not to like enter a competition and get that first place. Like, whether that's, you know, dance or it's some type of art, it's painting, movement feels very feminine to me.
But I asked that question recently on Facebook. Like, what do you do that you're not really good at, but you just love doing?
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
It's so important. Like, for me, I love to sing. I can't sing. I have 2 notes. I do have 2 notes that I can hit. And maybe with some training, I could expand. But, like, it makes me feel good to sing, and I'm not that good at it, and I don't need praise for it, but it makes me feel happy, you know. And so movement, definitely, any kind of movement, walking, sometimes just walking is so simple, but just walk around Town Lake and just looking at the beauty.
Be in nature.
That sounds so woo-woo and flowery, but honestly,
we're into it.
It's like I enjoy that. Love making. That's movement. I mean, all of that stuff is all like kind of branches from the same tree.
Yeah, definitely. Being in nature is something that I, having lived in cities all of my adult life, I kind of forget of how like good that makes me feel. Mm-hmm. So I love the walking outside thing.
It's inspiring too. You can get inspiration when you're just without walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are some other things people said in that?
People said all kinds of things. Cooking, cooking, I'm not really good at cooking, but I love to do it. Cooking, needlepoint. I mean, people have things that they know. Okay, I'm not going to make any money. No one's probably going to pay me to do this, but I enjoy it. And you need those type of things, like an outlet, like just something that you're really just doing because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
For no other reason.
Yeah, adult hobbies are a thing. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this before we started recording about how it seems like our parent generation before us they saw themselves as their primary role as caretaker, right? And kind of, I noticed in, now my friends who all have kids, they consider themselves as individual people and pursue things outside of their children, which is, I think, very healthy. Mm-hmm. And so, just like finding fun hobbies that feel good.
And it's healthy for your kids, too. For your kids to see you living a life.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I mean? I think about that all the time with my daughter. I'm like, at times, I often think I do so much, and I know that I'm a good mother, and I know that we have a good relationship, but at times I'm like, I'm not that like, every time there's a play date and we're going to schedule my whole life around my daughter's activities and what's she going to do and we're going to do this and we're going to do, and I don't want to plan all of her time, and sometimes I do feel a little guilt with that, but I feel like she's witnessing me living, and so I try to include her and like, not do it in a vacuum, but do it in a way that she can see so that she can, hopefully emulate or learn from or say, hey, my mom was like living her life and it didn't affect me negatively. I was right there, but it can happen.
There's this idea that not being, and I will preface this, but I'm not a parent, but I do witness this from friends of mine who are parents, that they feel negligent if they're not like completely 100% dedicated to their children, and I don't think that's the case. I love the way you put that, Ivy, and you're obviously more of an expert than me, so yes, positive modeling, role modeling is super rad, especially for young girls. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're going to be a woman one day.
Yes. Yeah. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on, we were talking about was, you were saying that, this was off camera last time we met, but you were saying that you feel like you've really started like embodying this feminine energy, and a lot of that came from doing shadow work. And like, I think that, I'm in my late 30s. I think you're probably somewhere around there, mid.
Oh, girl, late.
Okay.
Late, girl.
Okay. So I think, I'm noticing people in general, and maybe this is just like a conscious community thing, but are really like kind of taking a step back from their lives and being like, what do I need to heal from right now? What are some of the shadow sides? Because especially if you're kind of part of this community of people who are like trying to be the best versions of themselves and just like conscious of the world they're creating for themselves. Yeah. So and you were really like into it, so yeah, what does that look like?
I mean, for me, it just kind of looks like acknowledging ways that aren't as appealing, ways that I have about myself, thoughts that I have, like ways of being that don't necessarily are kind of not in line with who I imagine Lily to be, because of course I want to be like sunshine and rainbows and, positive, and for the most part I am, but, sometimes I'm not, and just not kind of shying away from that, and kind of recognizing and acknowledging parts of myself that aren't necessarily shiny and bright, you know, and knowing that that's part of my whole and that they deserve recognition. They're not something to be like shoved off and trying to run from or escape. It's like, this is all part of one human being, you know, and that's what makes me me, you know,
and not being embarrassed by that and kind of
right,
and being okay with that,
right? Because shadows, you know, I didn't think of it in these terms at the time, but also like during the time working in a strip club, that kind of gave me an outlet because it's dark and you're putting on this persona and you can kind of be whoever, and there's drinking and smoking going on, and it, you know, it kind of allowed me to be in that shadow side, a little more raucous version of myself, and it was an outlet, you know. So once that was no longer a part of my life, it was like, oh well, you still have, this is still here, you know, so now what are you going to do with it? And so that's when I started really realizing, like, okay, this darker side needs a place, needs an outlet, you know, needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, it's funny because our mutual friend Mel, I saw her post, you had an event at a strip club actually a few weeks ago, and I guess she had posted a video from it, and people were like, because she does a lot of like yoga and spiritual things, and she got some backlash, and she did this post, shout out to Mel.
Shout out to Mel, full ass human.
Yeah, I'm a full ass human.
It's
Grow
so
Your
real.
Love Space is what she's known as online, but I was like, yes, like
it really is.
You're a grown ass and you're you're an adult. Like,
you're an adult and you're a full ass human that can enjoy a spectrum of different things, you know. And often when we're in this role, and Mel and I have talked about this, of, you know, she is a yoga facilitator and people, you know, expect her to be a certain way, you know, and it's like, no, I enjoy this, and that, and it's all a part of who I am. None of this, it might not make sense to you, you know, but when you're a full ass human and you're living in that, you know, that's why, you know, I like to say I'm multidimensional. Like, there's a lot of different things. Don't be surprised, you know.
And we just 2 interviews ago, we interviewed Shakti Bliss Bunny, Scout, and so she's starting to teach here. FYI for
she does all the rope and stuff.
Yeah, she's also a yoga. She's a yoga teacher and a doula, but then she's so into like the rope work. Yeah, and that's what we talked about too. I think it's going to be a common theme amongst all of our interview guests, because that's what makes you fucking interesting, and that's what like brings out your creativity. Is like witnessing all the sides of yourself and being comfortable with it and not feeling ashamed by it. And, you know, maybe there are some dark things that you did not mean to manifest or that you had no control over, and still being like, okay, that's part of my human experience. I have to accept this and, you know, grow from it or learn for it or, you know, let it go, whatever that is. But like, no one's perfect. And
right. And being able to put that out to the world, because a lot of times it's something that, I mean, in the culture we live in, it's about putting your best self and your highlight reel and all of the good things. But, you know, that I don't want people to be living in the shadows. You know, I know people that have that I can see. I'm like, girl, it's okay. You know, they have these kind of sides to them that they don't really feel comfortable showing the world for whatever reason. And I can't say that I'm so evolved that I do all the time either, but I'm becoming more comfortable with it as I go along, because it's real shit. Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted to bring that up because I just thought when we talked about it the other day how great that was, and like how that's a hard place for especially women who put a lot of pressure on themselves to kind of like project as like very polished and maybe spiritual or, you know, maybe perfect in some sort of way. Like, it's cool. Spiritual women have dark sides too. You know what I mean?
There's, you know, we talk about the dark goddess here a lot, and I believe I use that verbiage in the podcast because I'm really drawn to dark goddess energy. It's still goddess energy,
right?
You know, but it's to me a bit interesting, and maybe it's seen as taboo, but it's not to me. As long as you live a life out of love, you know, who's to say what that looks like, you know? So Yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway, I would love to kind of jump into some of these questions that I ask everyone.
Okay.
To see what you think, Lily. So, what is your personal mantra?
Bloom you.
Bloom you.
Bloom you.
That's your business name.
That's your mantra. Yeah, I'm a flower, you know. I'm born in May. I bloom in spring, and bloom you to me is like bloom your own way on your time, you know, at your time, at your pace, in the way that you want to. That's what it's about, is really just blooming, not about always the end result. So I try to really, it has become my personal mantra. You know, at first it was like, oh, body bloom, bloom you, that makes sense. But I feel like now, when I really have sat and thought about, like, what does that really mean and what is that really about? Yeah, bloom you. Like, don't worry about any other thing that's going on around you, but
yeah,
sprout up when it's your time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that. It's not instant, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, having patience and going with the ebbs and flows of things, and having to water yourself more, or maybe like losing your petals sometimes, and then. Yep. You know, regrowing. So I don't know about gardening. That's the best I can do. But
me neither.
Metaphorically, I'm trying, but so hopefully those things made sense. But
that makes sense. See, I'm thinking more in terms of flowers. Yeah. You know, I'm like, garden? Yeah, no.
I know, I'm with you on that. And speaking of your birthday, you always do like a big birthday.
Oh, yeah.
You're a birthday person.
All month long. All month. Actually, it's my season right now. Like, my season actually starts April 1st.
Okay.
The season April 1st until May 30th. You know? Yeah. I'm in my full energy.
What you doing for your birthday this year?
Man, who knows? Well, I know one thing. I'm doing twerk and burn.
Okay. That's like your signature?
That's my signature class. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. We have DJ K. Kelly. We have some tequila going to be there. We're going to Vogue. We have a guest instructor.
Vogue.
Yes. We have Bakari Frazier coming to do like a Vogue whacking little choreography for us. I mean, so...
Wow.
I'm over the top about it. I mean, that's just... And that's the week before my actual birthday, but I'm all in the birthday energy during that time. Mm-hmm. And what else would I want to be doing? You know,
dancing and dancing how you want to dance and learning from other people, like you said. So, yeah, because we're all students. We're all always learning.
It's popping. Like, I feel it already. I'm getting excited.
Follow Lily on social media because I know that you'll post about it. You'll get a flyer and all that.
Oh, people are going to be tired of me. I'm going to post about my birthday, you know, from now till the end of May. So get ready.
That's good energies, though. I mean, celebrating life, right?
Right. Another year. Mm-hmm. You know, really, that's what it's about. And people are like, oh, why do you celebrate your... Because it's not about... I've made it a whole nother year. You know, when you understand that people don't get that chance, you know, like...
Yeah.
It's another year here. So whatever has happened, I'm going to celebrate whatever that is because I'm still here.
That's awesome. Okay, and so and you said you're a very sensual person, so what is your favorite sensuous indulgence?
That's a toss-up between sex and food.
Okay. Maybe like good sex and then a nice meal after?
Yes. And some wine, and some dessert, and some music. I mean, I can paint a whole picture.
So your sensuous indulgence is an evening.
Evening.
That's how you can get around this.
Yes, of music, of passionate love making, you know, of great food.
And you got a real
wine.
Good looking man, I have to say.
He's so
handsome.
I sure do.
And a good man and a sweet man. I've only met him once, but I can read people's energy, and his energy was...
That's my baby.
Yeah, you can tell he adores and loves you. He came. Lily performed in our showcase last year, and so he came, and so
because I dedicated that whole movement to him. It was his birthday, and so I had that movement choreographed by Hassan Christopher, who is amazing. And I was like, look, I'm so in love, and I really want to express this, but I don't have it in my mind to like just set something on me. Like, this is how I feel. This is the music I want to use. And so, just in a few weeks, I learned this movement, and it I was able to express, my love for him through that.
That's awesome. What a gift, for him to have someone dance, like a dance just inspired and meant for them. So, wow.
I know, right? That is pretty damn special. Now that you say it back.
Yeah. So, so good for you for like recognizing that love. And I love celebrating love, even though I'm not in love. I love seeing other people's love and, knowing that
it's out there.
Yeah, and that you've it's work, but you found it. Okay. What is something you are currently manifesting?
A stay at the Lily Resort in the Maldives.
Tell me what that is.
That's happening. That's a beautiful luxury all-inclusive resort that I somehow stumbled upon, and I was like, it's called the Lily Resort.
Were you Googling yourself?
And that's where it is. I don't know how. Maybe. But it's a few years ago. And so I'm like, I think, I'll be 38 this May. I said, for 40, that's what's happening. Like, that's where I'll be. Mark it down,
Speak it into
Put it
existence.
down. Like, that's where I will be celebrating the 4-0. So yeah, I think about that often.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And you're giving yourself like a proper amount of time. Like, okay, we have a couple
make it
years
practical and to really, put it together. But like, I think about it. Often.
That's cool. That's awesome. I really like that answer. It's like an experience, like another sensuous experience. You are very sensuous. I dig it. Okay, last question.
Okay.
What is one thing in Austin we should all check out?
Body Rock.
Body Rock.
Body Rock, yes. Check out Body Rock.
Tell us what Body Rock is.
Body Rock is my church. It is a dance party hosted by Riders Against the Storm and Chorizo Funk. And it's a dance party just full of love and good vibes, and you can be comfortable. I mean, I've gone to Body Rock in sweatpants, cut off shorts, a wife beater. Like, you just go and you sweat and you dance out everything, and people come on stage and they get their moment to shine, and it's beautiful to watch, and the music is always great and the people are always cool. And it's just something that, you need to check out in Austin for sure. It's
I've heard good things
first Friday. It's actually tonight, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
yeah.
So y'all won't be seeing this. So it's not being edited tonight. So next
one, and that'll be May. And of course, I'll be there for my birthday.
It's her birthday season.
Yes.
So I've heard great things about that party. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Like, going out to dance. Where is it?
It's a dance party. Now it's like, you don't find too many dance parties. There's music on, and people are just, buying drinks, standing around, trying to be cute. But this is like a real dance party with sweat and hugs and love and drinks and music. This is my type of party.
That's cool. All right, so check it out, y'all. I'm going to put like your links and stuff. I put everyone's links in show notes and stuff so y'all can check it out there. But Lily, it's been so fun.
This was so much fun.
Yes, here's some rosé. Tap for the spirits. I learned that from Chosen Eyes. Now I do it every time. But
do you? I thought you were only supposed to do it with shots.
She's doing it to the spirits. So
Chosen Eyes, that's my girl. Yeah, so if she says do it, I'm gonna do it.
Exactly. So now I do that every podcast. But thank you so much. You're such a babe. I'm so happy that you're in our life and you're part of the studio. And we love you.
Love you too.
Oh, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Minx Muse podcast. You can find show notes and learn more about the studio at www.minxandmuse.com. Go get your life, boo, and we'll see you again soon.